Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea. Because it's supposed to have audio.
Even if we recorded it or Kate and put it on later, don't stress.
So,
What about the other side?
did you capture any of that?
Yes, I recorded it.
Down to about.
When I was, yeah, you're about to call for a pause.
So, apologies. Oh, okay. All right.
So if you want to start again.
I'll just say welcome back.
Yeah.
We had an interruption. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you just tell me when. Okay. Welcome back. Thank you again, everyone. We just had an interruption with the live stream, and at that point I called for apologies, and they were nil. So we'll move on to item 6 on the agenda, which is the affirmation of oath of office by councillors. Section 30 of the Local Government Act provides that a person elected to be a councillor is not capable of acting as a councillor until the person has taken the oath or affirmation of office in the manner prescribed in the regulations. The oath or affirmation of office must be administered by the Chief Executive Officer and dated and signed before the Chief Executive Officer. So I'll now invite each of the councillors to stand and individually read either the affirmation or the oath of office and to sign and date the statement before me containing the oath or affirmation. So I'll invite now from my left, Councillor Vance.
I swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people in the municipal community. I will abide by the councillor code of conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the councillor code of conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
I might just remind councillors while you're reading the oath, you're welcome to remove your mask for reading of the oath. And I'll invite David Clark, Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. I solemnly and sincerely declare and affirm that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the municipal community of Pyrenees. I will abide by the councillor code of conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the councillor code of conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
Now I've got Councillor Keogh.
I swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people in the municipal community. I will abide by the councillor code of conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the councillor code of conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
I swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interests of the people of the municipal community. I will abide by the councillor code of conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the councillor code of conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
I swear by Almighty God that I will undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people in the municipal community. I will abide by the councillor code of conduct and uphold the standards of conduct set out in the councillor code of conduct. I will faithfully and impartially carry out and exercise the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 2020 and any other act to the best of my skill and judgment.
I think with that, I'd like to congratulate councillors for signing and taking the oath and the affirmation, and I think a round of applause might be in order. I now invite the immediate past mayor, Councillor Keogh, to provide a report on her term as mayor.
Well everyone, what a year it has been, the final year of our last council term. We started with finalising and implementing a number of drought-funded projects that were needed to be completed, and then we were hit by the devastating Lexington fires. And then we were planning and dealing with flood studies again and actual flooding issues in some areas. And all this we thought was major enough. However, we were yet to realise the impact that an unknown virus was going to have upon our lives and the lives of people around the globe. But as our communities in the Pyrenees Shire continue to show, we have an incredibly resilient community and incredibly connected communities that have worked together to overcome adversity and to strategically plan ahead to minimise risk and continue to protect our communities and to prosper as we look ahead. The Lexington community revealed just how resilient they were and how they came together to not just fight this fire as it threatened the community, but to then recover and rebuild after its brutal effect. Emergency responders, council teams, blaze aid leaders and volunteers, community groups and of course community members all rallied in support and showed just what it means to reach out to others and respond to such an emergency. One image I will not forget when I was volunteering with Blaze Aid was sitting down on a burnt out area on the side of the road for a cuppa, and we had locals and interstate Aussies sitting amongst 2 Dutch volunteers, an English volunteer and an international student from Turkey. All were there assisting their time and energy because it was needed. Need I say more about the generosity of the human spirit? Another example was being able to sit down one-on-one with an elderly resident at the emergency refuge at Miners Rest. A lady who had to leave her home and had not been physically affected, but was so grateful to be able to tell her story and talk about her anxiousness. She was just so relieved and grateful simply because she could talk about it and know that she had support. These people, such as this lady, are our residents of the Pyrenees Shire, and it is for these people that we do what we do as councillors. I do not need to give my next subject an introduction, as COVID-19, coronavirus, made itself infamous across our world in this year of 2020. Our Pyrenees Shire was incredibly blessed to only have experienced a few cases that were very well managed and maintained in order to prevent an outbreak. We thank those affected residents, health workers and police who ensured that a further spread didn't happen. But we also cannot thank enough every single resident in this Shire who changed the way they lived in order to protect themselves and their fellow residents. We cannot thank enough the health workers, carers, educators, home support workers, everyone who worked towards protecting others against this unprecedented monster of a threat that made us realise just how precious freedom, family, friends, faith and even food supplies are in our everyday life. COVID has opened all our eyes to just how precious living the way we live is, and how fortunate to have the access we have to health, educational, economic, recreational and community resources. COVID has impacted so many in such a trying way, but it has also brought out some incredible stories, again of the generosity of the human spirit. I have had calls from residents concerned about others in their community that may be needing greater assistance. We have even been able to identify members of our community that needed to be part of our community care program, and this has improved their life and ability to live in our Shire. We've had neighbours sharing goods that they have had and offering to support each other, from giving of spare toilet rolls to simply giving a housebound neighbour a regular telephone call to check in. Again, a moment I recall was when a fellow rang up to say thanks for our messages that we had put out as a council via our Facebook page. He didn't need any specific help, but just the mental and emotional reassurance that was he could reach out to if he needed help got him through those tighter lockdown times. Again, I felt such a buzz from that feedback because, again, this is why we are councillors and council workers. We cannot foresee what is ahead of us, but when faced with adversity, we will deal with it to the best of our ability. COVID has been an incredibly challenging time for all people, and some more than others, and we as a Pyrenees Council will continue to work towards supporting everyone, and particularly our vulnerable residents, our vulnerable businesses, and our community as a whole, in order to ensure that we can continue to get through this challenging time and to come out strongly and securely as we move into a new normal. The Pandemic Planning Committee, the Municipal Emergency Management Planning Committee, the Economic Task Force, and our council officers and staff dedicated to supporting residents and businesses through COVID have all worked thoroughly to ensure that we can strive to support our community through this time. Despite COVID impacting a great deal of works, there were a number of projects that were completed prior to and during COVID. Planning for the Lexington Community Hub was able to take off more rapidly, as did planning and implementation of projects in Avoca for the inclusive play space, the barbecue shelter, more footpaths and renovation works on the Shire Hall there. The 3 Halls project was completed, as were projects for the Carnham female-friendly change rooms and the Snake Valley Linear Park. Drought Communities funded community projects have included building repairs, barbecue shelters amongst others, and these have been completed in segments of the Pyrenees Futures projects have also begun to be implemented across the townships of Lexington, Snake Valley and Warborough. The beautiful tree planting in Beaufort is a vivid example of this as one drives through the township. New bores have been installed this year and old ones upgraded. Car parks have been sealed and caravan parks improved also. The Telstra Tower booster for Lexington was installed, important flood management plans were researched and reported on, and the wind farm facilities have continued to be built in the southern end of the Shire and completed in the northern part of the Pyrenees Shire. These projects have been important to be completed for community use, but also particularly important at this time to boost our local economy. A great number of road and bridges projects have also been undertaken in this past 12 months, with a number of projects under drought funding needing to be completed and a number of high priority road projects undertaken to continue to maintain and improve our sealed and unsealed road infrastructure. All these projects have occurred at the same time that the day-to-day vital council work has continued to ensure that our community and community spaces remain safe, so it has been a very busy year. Increasing and improving our social media outreach was a priority for me in the role of Mayor, and it has been exciting and rewarding to be able to work with Kate Deppler in particular, but we all play a role in this, in being able to utilise platforms such as Facebook to spread information about what the council does, as in providing services, but also about project delivery, community awareness programs, and, especially during COVID, continue to connect with our community across the Shire. Zoom became a norm for all of us for council briefings and meetings, but also for our MA meetings and conferences, MAV meetings and conferences, Central Highlands Council meetings, and even as we met up with various MPs over the year. I do thank all the council officers and their staff, from our welcoming reception and information centres staff, through to the many department staff leaders and workers, through to our maintenance crews. Everyone has continued to work together to ensure that we are able to provide the best level of service possible to all our residents across the Shire. We have been led incredibly well by our leadership team during this tumultuous year, under the lead of our CEO Jim Nolan, along with Kathy and Doug and their lead officers, and we thank you all for the incredible effort and extra roles that you have found yourself in. And also Jane, I mustn't miss out on Jane, who quietly but competently organises us all so well and so efficiently. But this has been particularly difficult during the time of COVID-19, so we thank you. I would also very much like to thank my fellow councillors, 3 of you whom I've journeyed with for the past 8 years, and Damien the last couple. And we also remember Michael O'Connor with great respect, and will continue to remember his legacy. And we again thank the entire O'Connor family for the time he had with us during this past term. I have continued to be privileged to work with these community-driven, supportive and committed colleagues, and I very much look forward to the next term ahead. Finally, I would like to thank Bernard, Annie, Tom, Max, Jack, Bridget and Sam, as we all know so very well that we journey on this role as councillors, and particularly as Mayor, with our families as well. And this year particularly, being my school children's mother teacher, I was often interrupting a lesson to take a call or finishing lessons early to sit in on a meeting. But I will, as we all know we will certainly remember 2020 vividly for the rest of our lives. But it has been again an incredible honour to have served you as your Mayor over these past 12 months. And I thank you all, and again I'm very much looking forward to the next council term ahead. Thank you.
We now move to item 8, which is the election of Mayor. Section 25 of the Local Government Act states that at a council meeting that is open to the public, the councillors must elect a councillor to be the Mayor of the council. Subject to section 167, any councillor is eligible for election or re-election to the office of Mayor. And further, section 26 provides that before the election of a Mayor, a council other than the Greater City of Geelong must determine by resolution whether the Mayor is to be elected for 1 or 2 years. So I'll ask for a motion from the council as to whether the council would choose to elect a Mayor for 1 year or 2 years.
I will move a motion that that will continue for 1 year at this stage.
Okay.
I'll second
Thanks,
that.
Councillor Keogh. I have a seconder, Councillor Eason. Okay, those in favour? Thank you. I consider that as adopted. And now I'd like to invite nominations for the position of Mayor. Do I have a nomination?
I'd be happy to nominate Councillor Ferrari for the chair.
Thank you, Councillor Vance.
Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Ferrari, do you accept the
I
nomination?
do accept the nomination.
Do I have any further nominations for the position of Mayor? Okay, given that there are no further nominations for the position of Mayor, I declare Councillor Ferrari to the position of Mayor. I'll now invite Councillor Keogh to present the newly elected Mayor with the gavel. The gavel is a symbol of the authority and right to act officially in the capacity of Chair. It also represents the authority of the Chair. Thus, the expression passing the gavel signifies an orderly succession from one Chair to another. I now invite the newly elected Mayor, Councillor Ferrari, to take the chair.
Thank you all. I'm very honoured to be selected to be the Mayor for the next 12 months, and I thank my fellow councillors for that. I'd just like to thank Councillor Keogh for her previous 12 months, and she read out what some of the things that she went through, but to be honest, she went through a great deal more, and she led us very well through a very trying time with COVID-19, and that was thrust upon us, and it was very trying, and it's unprecedented. And you know, the way that Tanya handled that was extremely professional and very well, and especially that community reassurance and that community messaging that Tanya continued to get out to the community in a number of ways was just fantastic. And I heard nothing but positive feedback from the community, and rightly so. So thank you very much, Tanya. That's excellent. Go to 9.1 in relation to the consider whether to appoint a deputy mayor. The councillors have had some discussion in relation to that, and we've decided that we're not going to elect a deputy mayor, so that will just proceed as we have previously.
That's good.
So we go to 10.1. On behalf of the council and the community, I'd like to Jim will present these flowers to Tanya, just as a token of appreciation for her efforts over the previous 12 months. Thank you very much, Tanya. Well done.
Thank you very much. These are beautiful.
Is that some nice little
Take photos.
Mr. Mayor, there is also an envelope in there which is a present that's on its way. It's in the process of being painted.
Okay.
Yes.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. There's 10.2, a gift is a recognition of Bernard Keogh's contribution to the community in support of the Mayor over the previous year. So as we know, Tanya's got a larger family, and that's fantastic. And look, it just goes without saying, it makes it so much easier if you've got the support of your family and loved ones around you. And there's some significant commitment that you have to make to these duties, which I'll have to do. It's big shoes to fill, but you know, I'm sure that Tanya's extremely appreciative of Bernard's efforts throughout the year, and not just through the year, but in her term as a councillor throughout. So that's fantastic. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. There you go. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for that recognition.
that brings me to 10.3. So I'd just like to actually recognise the contribution that the councillors have made over. I've been on the council for 2 years. Mine was a by-election, but the other councillors served 4 years, and over that 2 years I've seen how they operate and what they do and how they go about it, and I'm extremely impressed with the team, and I'm really looking forward to working with them into the future. And there's such a significant amount of experience in the team, and no doubt I'll be drawing on some of that at some stage, and I certainly won't be scared to ask. It's been a challenging time, and we've had to make some really significant changes, and especially with face-to-face meetings. We've gone to virtual meetings, which I think we've sort of got our head around now, but it was a significant change, and it did create some challenges, but we stepped up to it and we got through it, and we still managed to do the business as usual as best we could. So without any further ado, I'll present those.
Mr. Mayor, there's just a small token as a reminder of some of the significant things that have occurred over the term of the councillor. So there's a small presentation to each councillor. So
Thanks, Jim.
that's Councillor Clark. Might call that in.
Thank you.
And Councillor Keogh. Lisa.
Thank you very
On
much.
that occasion. Councillor Ferrari is in front of you with one of your favourite.
Thank you very much.
And I did notice that there's a couple of there's a scratch on 2 of those. We'll actually replace those frames because they were damaged. Transit.
So we might move on to item 11, which is the council representations on committees. So we might, can I throw that to you, Jim? Or?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Council have considered these positions at briefing and have identified various representatives for committees, and there is a without actually reading all the names of the committees, I consider those as having been agreed and read, and you may invite a nomination on the basis of those representatives. Just
Happy to move to that effect, Mr. Chair.
Second it. Thank you. All those in favour? That brings us to the close of the meeting. The meeting is closed at, what is the actual time? 6:38 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.